In this video, we're going to talk about mastering the art of the close and how to convert fitness sales calls into high-value clients. So closing the sale is an essential part of generating premium online fitness clients. In this training, we'll cover the biggest mistakes you may be making and the two-part formula for successfully turning a sales call into a client. So here's what we're going to cover. In part one, we're going to talk about how to frame your sales calls for a better close rate with premium buyers. And in part two, we're going to go over how to make your potential client lean in by asking the right questions. So let's dive in. Part one, how to frame your sales calls for a better close rate with premium buyers. Why is this important? Not framing your sales calls properly can put your prospect in the driver's seat instead of you, and it increases the chances of hearing, "Let me think about it." Framing things correctly lets them know the general structure of the call and makes them feel like you genuinely care about understanding them. And it lets them know what to actually expect and that you expect a decision at the end. Now, does that always happen? No, but by setting proper expectations, you are leading the call. And the more important intention behind this is leadership. It's not about just trying to stiff arm someone into buying something. It's about showing them you're in control and there's an agenda. So it allows them to be qualified by you. And this is a great way to start the call. Obviously a respectful way, but it's important to start this way. So let's go ahead and talk about the 3 essential points to include when properly framing the call. So in the first part, you want to let them know the first part of the call is about them. So this is the discovery period. So you tell them you want to understand what they've tried and you want to understand why it didn't work for them and then what they're looking to get out of working together if they become a client. Number 2, let them know that if you're not the right coach for them, you'll point them in another direction. Number 3, let them know they're free to ask questions as you go to gain clarity around your process and that the goal of the call is to help them come to a yes, this is what I need, or a no, this is not what I need decision by the end of it. Part 2, how to make your potential clients lean in by asking these questions. So after you successfully frame the call, you're ready to move forward. And you want to avoid the number one mistake I see coaches making, which is actively coaching on the sales call. You might feel like this is demonstrating your expertise or showing them you're a coach who genuinely cares, but this actually relieves the pain they're experiencing and it makes them feel like they've gotten the answers they need. Instead, focus on asking strategic questions to make your prospect lean in and see you as their best and only option. So what type of questions do you ask and when do you ask them? So the first part of the call is understanding the problem. When do you use this? You always use this at the beginning of a call. And the purpose of this is to get clarity on the problem. So for example, if you were consulting with a married 45-year-old CEO with a family who wants to lose 25 pounds while traveling twice a week, you would ask, what's your biggest challenge with getting into optimal shape right now? Their answer would be, I'm struggling to maintain a consistent workout routine. So after that, you want to go into widening the gap. So when you use this is after you've identified the main challenge or problem. So the purpose of this is helping them discover why they're stuck. And it's an important distinction because when we ask good questions, we're helping other people gain insight into their own lack of clarity versus telling them what they should feel or think. And this is a really important part of sales because when you widen the gap, they are aware of their problem more when you ask the question. And so it helps them realize why they're stuck. That's why when it comes from them, it's a lot more powerful than if you tell them. So the question could look like, why is it a struggle to consistently be in the gym every week? And their answer would be, I travel a lot, so my gym equipment is always changing. Now, you want to go into the background. So when you use this is near the beginning of the call after you go into what we talked about before. And the purpose of this is to highlight what they've tried in the past and why it didn't work. So an example would be, what have you tried in the past to help you work out more consistently? And they might say, I hired an in-person trainer. And then you say, what about that experience was helpful? And what did you feel like was missing to make it sustainable? And the reason why we say this is that you don't want to judge somebody based on their past decisions. You want to clarify what they liked and what they would change, because this allows you to tailor your offer and or understand if your offer is right for them. And so maybe after that, they would say, I really enjoyed the accountability aspect and not having to think about designing my own workouts, but I travel a lot, so we often had scheduling conflicts. Now, after you do this, you want to get into the doubt questions. So when you use these or after you've actually isolated the challenge. And the purpose of this is to eliminate objections about them trying it on their own and get them to acknowledge they can't figure it out on their own, but once again, coming from them. So an example of this could be, so what's keeping you from designing your own workout routine? And they may say, well, I'm looking to drop 25 pounds and tone up in the process and keep my energy levels high. And every time I try to do it on my own, I end up skinny fat and exhausted. So this is going to help them realize why no matter how many things they've tried, they end up in the same place. And the reason they're on this call is because they're looking for a new way. So the next piece is talk about finances. So when do you use this? As you widen the gap and go deeper in the pain, we have an opportunity to naturally lead into this. The purpose of this is to determine how much that person actually trusts you financially financially and is willing to be honest. This is more of a temp check on the quality of your interaction and the questions you asked. Do they feel like this conversation is going well? And do they trust you? Because if they don't, that means you just really haven't done a good job. If they don't, that means you have not made them feel comfortable, asked the right questions, and actually established the right connection in this call. So the first thing you do is you would ask the question, are you willing to have an open and honest conversation about finances and investing in yourself? Then you would ask the next question. You want to go for the no here. Are you against investing in a custom solution to help you achieve XYZ goal? And they're going to say no. Now, after you've done this, you want to get into solution-based questions. So you use these after you've isolated the pain and the challenge, you've kind of talked about money, and you're trying to explore what they're thinking about trying right now and uncover the doubt in whether or not it will work. So you might ask, what have you recently considered as a way to potentially solve XYZ challenge? And they may say, I've considered buying a Peloton to help my cardio. You would ask, do you feel like that's going to be effective at helping you reach 100% of your goals? And their answer is probably going to be, I'm honestly not sure. This is widening the gap and helping them realize that even the solutions they're looking at, they're not very certain on, which is why you're helping them understand that from their perspective, not yours. And then another question to go into is the cost. So when to use these questions, they work best after you've widened the gap. The purpose of this is a compelling reason why they want to change now. So clear consequences of doing nothing. And this information is for you to hold them accountable at the end of the call. So when they say this is them being really honest about why they want to change. So if you have to bring this up in a high value way, you can. And so an example of this would be, what happens if you don't fix this? How is this negatively impacting your life? And their answer could be, I become like my father who died of a heart attack at 52. Every time I have to wear a suit, I realize my weight and my belly is a problem. My image matters and people look up to me. And this really helps them clarify specifically what's coming up for them as to why it's important. And then the next question is going to be vision desire. So when you can use this is honestly any time, but it works best after we've gotten clear on the pain, down the cost. And the purpose of this is to understand their deeper values tied to getting into optimal shape. So an example would be, why is dropping 25 pounds and toning up important to you now? And their answer could be, honestly, being out of shape and having low energy doesn't match my personality at all. And I know the longer I wait, the harder it will be. I don't want to end up like my dad. I want to have energy for my kids and be around to see my grandkids. After you've done all this, you're ready to transition to your pitch and help them now connect everything they've talked about to your offer and helping them realize why it's a new opportunity and why you're the best and only option for them. So I hope this helped. I know it was a lot. And if you like this and it was helpful, like, subscribe, and continue to watch for more videos. I really look forward to helping you guys more, and I hope you have a wonderful day.